Emily Pankhurst was born July 15th, 1858 in Moss Side, Manchester, England. Her childhood was her best because she had a loving family, a comfortable home, and a good education. Her family had a tradition of them participating in radical politics, and she decided to go through the same path. Both her parents were supporters of the suffrage movement. By then, the suffrage movement had been going on. The suffrage movement was the right of the woman to vote in election. She began to have some thoughts about the gender differences that education taught. Her education was way different than her brother's. For example, home attractive, meaning that she was taught that the only job women had was to be a housewife, while her brother's education consisted of greater things such as having the right to do more things than women. When she was 14, she attended her first suffrage meeting and she came to realize that she had always been a suffragist without her even knowing. In 1878, she married Richard Pankhurst, who was also a supporter for the women's suffrage movement. She had 5 children with him. In 1894, Emily was elected a poor law guardian. At the time, she visited workhouses in Manchester and she realized the levels of poverty many faced. This gave her another reason why she should help the women get the right to vote, so they can vote against the poverty people were facing at that time. Her husband died on the year 1898. That hit her as a surprise and caused her to throw herself into the women's suffrage movement, forming the Women's Friendship League in 1898. The injustice that women faced back then was unequal women's rights. Emily's most wanted accomplishment was to help the women have the same rights to vote as men. She believed that women voters would be able to help more out there with the social injustices, such as the poorness that was going on at that time. Emily was a British political activist and leader of the British suffragette movement who helped the women win the right to vote. Emily played a good role even though everything she was doing was illegal. She just wanted equal rights for us women. She did a great job. She never gave up and her voice was heard. Pankhurst was committed to women's voting rights because she thought suffrage was not only a right but also a necessity, which is true because us women deserve to have a word in everything, just how men have the right to vote, we have the right as well. In 1903, she formed the more militant Women's Social and Political Union. She led a group of women who were determined to do whatever they had in their hands to be heard as well. In fact, one of her famous quotes show how deeply she wanted this. Her quote states, "We are not here because we are lawbreakers. We are here in our efforts to become lawmakers," meaning that they want to be given the chance so they can prove that they can do the same as men. Pankhurst was arrested multiple times due to the cause that she was the leader of the women's suffrage movement. After all these riots and protests and all those times she spent in jail, her voice was finally heard. Pankhurst achieved what she wanted. Women have the right to vote. In fact, she was awarded a medal for her activist efforts. In 1918, women over the age of 39 were given the right to vote. In 1928, women were granted equal voting rights with men at the age of 21. She fell ill and died on June 14, 1928. Thanks to her hard work and dedication, women are now free to vote. She is now recognized as one of the 100 most important people on the 20th century. In fact, Emmeline Pankhurst wrote her own book called My Own Story, which was publicly published originally in 1914. And in that book, she wrote everything about what happened during the time, during the riots, during everything she was fighting for, all the details. Today, the injustice that women faced back then of not having the right to vote has been eradicated for sure. In fact, it is now the 19th Amendment, which states, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex." Since the injustice is no longer faced today in our modern society due to the fact that it is now an amendment, we have nothing to worry about, thanks to all the women who fought for our rights to vote. But if anything ever happens, if they were to take our rights away, what we can do to prevent this injustice from growing in our society today is fight back and show men that us women can do the same as they do and even better. We can protest and have our voices heard. We can also educate our children differently by making them understand that no matter the gender, everyone is equal and everyone has the right to be treated the same, and everyone has the right to vote